All right, guys, so I'm here with the fishery biologist from the Michigan DNR here, Cleyo Harris, and he's going to explain a common question I get all the time. I didn't know the answer to, and I'm about to learn it at the same time you are. But what happens to fish when the lakes freeze solid? Here we go.
All right, so it's not very often that lakes freeze completely solid all the way to the bottom. Usually what happens is you get a hard ice cover, and if it's a shallow lake, you know, the water body only has so much dissolved oxygen that it can contain throughout the winter. And when the lake freezes completely over, you're not getting wind mixing that drives oxygen back into the water as it's depleted. So without more inputs of oxygen, that dissolved oxygen bank kind of depletes. So what you'll see is you'll get hot spots where actually you'll get dead zones where the oxygen goes completely down, and those are areas where you'll get fish that'll like pockets of fish kills. You might not get a complete fish kill. Sometimes if it's a really shallow and it's really hard freeze for a really long time, you will see that fish kill take out almost the whole pond. But
if a fish stays moving, does it keep it from freezing where they're at, or no? Can they not fight it?
I mean, if it's that shallow that it's going to freeze all the way to the bottom, especially in southern Michigan, yeah, you probably aren't going to have very many fish. Okay. And they'll be in there seasonally. They might come in from a tributary or something like that.
I didn't know. I know how like some species will like put their head above, is that alligators that do that? They put their head above the ice and just live like that for the winter.
Yeah, and fish don't do that. Yeah, nope. If it's that shallow, they're probably trying to find deeper water. They're probably trying to go somewhere where there is oxygen. And there are some fish that can tolerate a lot lower oxygen levels. Species like Cisco or trout, they need a little higher oxygen levels, whereas like a bullhead can really thrive in a low oxygen.
So it can just dive straight down and find wherever the open water is. Doesn't need to be high oxygen at all.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, like usually 3 parts per million or 3 milligrams per liter is what we look at for fish, and we will see at times when that levels drop below that in certain areas. In lakes and especially in ponds, we definitely see that, but that's part of it. If it stays open all winter, and then you have really good oxygen and you don't have those issues.
So even when there's 2 feet of ice on a lake, the fish survive perfectly fine underneath it. Still, they just get slower.
Yep. Yeah, they just metabolism really slows down because they're cold-blooded. So
that's awesome. Well, little fun fact for you guys right there. So check it out, and check out Michigan DNR. You can look online for a lot more resources too and find a bunch more stuff. Where can they find? Is there a website where people can just find like information on the fisheries and stuff like that?
Michigan.gov/DNR. And there's links to a bunch of fishery stuff. If you have species questions or anything like that, want to get a hold of us, our contact information is on there as well. And there's anything the Department of Natural Resources does is accessible through that website.
Perfect. And I have contacted the fishery division plenty of times for questions, and they're always super friendly. And it's funny because they're fans of fishing just like we are, but they know more than we do usually. So it's good to ask questions and learn. But thanks for watching us, guys. Stay tuned for the full episode. You can see all the cool stuff we did in this episode. But until then, we'll see you guys soon.